Hey everybody, this is Kat with Agency Zoom. Very excited to be welcoming Caitlin Agar with Quantum. They are our agency of the month here. And you guys have a really exciting milestone coming up soon here too. It's Quantum Day, it's Quantum Month, Quantum Year. What is the upcoming celebration that you and Jeff and everybody over there is popping bottles about?
Yes, we're so excited. So in a couple days, Quantum turns 2. So happy Quantum Day. And we're just excited for our team and all they've accomplished over the past couple of years since we launched. We launched with 6 team members, and now we have a team of over 120 in our hubs in Virginia and Texas. And we have over 50 locations in our agency force across the country and many different states, and are just continuing to grow. So it's been a wild ride. Thanks for the shout out on that, Kat.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't want to say that that's the only reason you guys caught our attention is how quickly you're growing, but it certainly didn't hurt. When we started looking at like, oh wow, they've done a lot in the last year, like since the last Quantum Day, like, oh damn, they're doing a lot. But then you guys, the other thing that I think is really unique with how Quantum has like presented itself, branded itself, is you guys continue to provide value in the whole distribution channel. You've been on with us before for Openly. Jeff is out there doing just about every single thing possible. Justin is awesome. Like, you guys are, as often as you can, really giving back, even though, you're at your 2-year mark. This is very new for you guys still.
Thank you. Well, we're a bunch of agents that created Quantum for agents. We felt like there were some holes in the independent space that needed to be filled, and some things that we're working on to make it a better place for everyone, the agency owners, the clients. So we're happy to get in there, help people any way we can. We love helping agents, and we really believe in what they're doing. And you're right, the agent distribution model is super important. And we absolutely believe that it is still the wave of the future for the independent insurance space. And agents aren't going to be going anywhere.
Right. You guys had insurance experience, every single one of you guys, before you showed up.
Yes.
To go through this hoorah. How did you guys get to a point, or what was the like moment that it dawned on you, like, I think we can do this on our own. Like, I think we can be independent. And you guys saw, like you said, a gap in the market where it wasn't just, we're going to become independent, and like, go away, mom and dad moment. Like, it wasn't independence for the sake of independence. It was that you guys wanted to be independent. And like you said, saw that gap in the market. What was, whether it was for you or, the team when you guys first started, what was that moment, that aha moment for you guys?
Oh gosh, there's so much there. I think that one of the aha moments for me personally was just when I started to understand the independent insurance space better, because I think there were some common myths that I had about, oh, if I'm an independent agent, then that means I would have to be price focused all the time, and I want to be a trusted advisor. I just didn't understand what kind of products would be available. And so for me, a big aha moment was realizing how I really did want to be able to give more options to my clients. And I felt like that would be a win for sure for my clients, but also for the associates that work for us and team members, and just helping them when they're building their career in insurance and what that long-term plan will mean for them. And in the end, it results in a more diverse portfolio. So instead of having all your eggs in one basket, for us, that just made sense. And I think another aha moment was in realizing that when it comes to carrier contracts and the agency ownership experience, there's a lot that can be done to smooth the road for entrepreneurs and make it a really agent-friendly contract. And we felt like we could be the ones to bring that to the table and create an experience that makes sense for the people that are investing their livelihood into this business. And when small business owners succeed in America, it has a ripple effect on their community. It's a really big deal. And so we want to do right by them.
That's absolutely so true. How have there been things you've stumbled across that have still caught you by surprise? You had the insurance experience. You were nervous, I'm sure, like pro and con nervous, about going independent. Were there things that caught you off guard when you first started, down this road, or when you first started really growing Quantum?
I think that one of the surprises for me, and this is just me personally, everybody has a different, there's kind of like when it comes to learning all these different carriers, there is a raised bar there for like, okay, if I'm really going to give trusted advice and professional expert guidance, that I really need to understand the products that I'm representing and the companies that I'm representing really well. And the carriers, many of them have training on their platforms, and that's super helpful. But I was surprised to find that there's not like one place you can go to get your carrier training. And so one of the things that we developed over the past 2 years is a learning management system called Quantum University. And when our agents and their staff come on board to Quantum, one of the things that we do is take them through carrier training. And we can get into the other things that Quantum University offers, like selling with purpose and how to find the true fit for your client, create a buying experience that results in a one-call close, all of that good stuff. But taking the mystery out of learning the different carriers so that you can just focus on your client, I think is something that we're doing to bring some added value to the space that I just hadn't experienced myself before.
So you stumbled through it, you guys taught yourselves, and then you said, this probably wasn't that fun. Rather than making everybody reinvent the wheel, we're going to help you guys out on this.
Absolutely.
You guys really, I do sincerely appreciate how thorough your sales training is. We've talked and chatted many times offline about that in the past. But on top of that, just how thorough all your training is. Like you said, like whether it's giving back to the actual independent channel as a whole, whether it's training your quantum agencies to make sure that they're very comfortable, whether it's with their customers or their own staff. Like you guys are incredibly hands-on, and you brought up a piece of software that I don't think gets used a lot yet in the insurance space, which is a learning management software. How did you guys arrive at a point that you said, I think we're going to make a university over just having some scattered documents or some videos here and there? How did you guys decide that was right for you and like the best way to scale quantum?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. We needed something scalable because we were hiring so many associates in such a short period of time. And when you have 50 agency locations that are also hiring and their staff need to be onboarded and new agencies every month, if you use a system like Loom, it's a little bit harder to organize the content or be able to tell what was completed or have a guided path that says, here are your prerequisites. And when you finish those, these are the next stages in the process. And it's difficult to make the video content hands-on and engaging without the presence of a learning management system. And so we use the learning management system as a great tool for on-demand courses and for keystone pillar topics where we use video as one of the tools that we're using to teach the skill. But that's followed up with live workshops, group discussions, role plays, and a chance to get hands-on as well.
I love that. So you guys it's not just one tool, that's like you said, kind of the cornerstone, that's the dictionary, if you will, but you guys still have writing labs, you still spend a lot of time together and are very communal.
Yes, the learning transfer really happens when we get hands-on and you put that headset on and you're talking to a client and then someone gives you immediate feedback. So anything that's that gives the new team member a chance to really get in there and talk about it with their peers or practice it or do a mock call or review a call that just happened is going to have that tangible effect that sometimes a video just can't accomplish.
Have you guys found other software out there than organizationally speaking that you feel like is either underutilized in a lot of agencies? People come to you and they're so impressed, they never knew that existed, like a learning management software. Or things even just across a scaling organization that we maybe pick up and use, but we don't really use to their full potential. Have you guys unearthed other things that you say, that's really worth a second look? Like whether you're independent and all by yourself, independent, or whether you're independent and part of a big group and trying to better each other, what else gets forgotten?
Oh my gosh, I think there's so many. We're huge fans of Agency Zoom, by the way, so I know you weren't going for a plug there, but we've been big fans of Agency Zoom for a long time. And it's so important to have a system that is simple and that understands the call flow. And that's, you guys have made so many things to just adapt the product from when we first started using it. It just keeps getting better and better. And it's so important to be able to see where you are. So I think that's really important. Accountability is all about visibility. So getting your eyes on that data is so important. Another tool that I would say is underutilized in the insurance agency world is using voice analytics software to assist you in your sales and service coaching. And so finding a vendor that can help tag the behaviors that are important to you and your agency will help really, it'll help you and your leaders in your agency be really strategic about reinforcing the behaviors that lead to the outcomes that you want. So for example, we know that bundling is one of the best ways to have a deeper relationship with the client and higher retention and to achieve your sales scores and better help this person manage the risks in their life. But it's often one of the metrics that is underutilized in an agency if you have a new team member. And so you can use voice analytics to tag where in the call they did or didn't offer a bundle, how they phrased it, coach them around. Okay, I know the client said they're buying a new home and that they're busy right now. Let's talk about how we can still help them. And that makes a really big difference.
Are you guys using that level of depth and analytics in most of your business practices? Like, how do you guys look at any of the content that you're writing? How do you look at their websites and their social media? Because calls are phenomenal. You know, that's like the universe as like an external sales leader to insurance. That's like just a standard. You know, if you're going to really grow someone's career as a salesperson, you have to be able to coach them. And that gets into live calls and call analytics.
Yeah.
You said voice. What other areas are you guys providing feedback? Because I think we know, you know, we work with, and you guys know, you know, we work with thousands of agencies. There are a lot of people watching this that they don't even record calls yet, or they're
right.
recording calls. They live in their agency management system. So are there other pieces where people could do some conversation analytics or some user behavior analytics that you think are still valuable as that first baby step?
Absolutely. So if you don't have the whole deal to be able to implement something about what I just talked about right now, start where I started. And that is, you can start writing a sales process for your agency. And even that might sound like a lot right now, but I'll give you like one or two things you could do first. First, think about and write down how you would want to introduce your agency to your client if you were on the phone with them. So if you're the agency owner and someone called in and said, hey, I'm buying a home, I need insurance, how would you introduce the value that you provide in your competitive position and who you are in the community to that person? And write that down. And then do an exercise with your team about what are 10 things that we know we can deliver on for the client today. This is our value. This is what we offer. This is what makes us different. It has to be 10 things that we know we can deliver on today. That means it can't be about price because we don't know where the price is going to fall based on the client's needs. And so once you know how you want to introduce your agency, that's your brand, that's your message to the community, and you know how you're going to bring value to this client today, for sure, now you can just start listening to calls and just coaching your team on those things. So if someone calls in and says they bought a new home, they know how they're going to introduce your agency and how they're going to set expectations on the call for how they're going to solve problems for that client based on what their needs are. And you can just start coaching them on what was the client's need and then how did you introduce us without using the words shopping for a cheaper rate, for example. And your team's conversations will start becoming much more value focused, and then you can just finish writing the rest of your sales process.
I really love that you said get your team involved. Like, yes, take the moment to think about it yourself, you know, reflect. It is your agency. There is some accountability and some leadership that needs to be there. But I think the guardianship, you know, the stewardship, the fact that you're saying like get your team involved, have them identify with you those 10 things. I feel like that builds a lot of accountability then, that, you know, if you come to me 2 weeks later and you're listening to a call and you say, Kat, we talked about this and actually you brought up, you know, number 4. Why aren't we talking about number 4 now? You know, are we forgetting about it? Is it awkward to talk about? Do we just need to practice that? I love that you know, are encouraging teams, you know, to be self-aware initially of their own mission as a business owner, but then also to, you know, get their team involved into that self-accountability over time, you know, and setting their own rubric.
Absolutely. And it really just helps get their buy-in on your agency purpose and what you guys are all trying to accomplish together, because it gives them tools and you're empowering them to talk about more than just price. So that way they don't have to use price as a crutch. They can fit it and let price play the appropriate role in the conversation.
Do you think, you talked about at the beginning, do you think brand is a portion of the independent world that is overutilized, underutilized? You mentioned a crutch. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Like, are people using brand more often than not in an advantageous way, or is it actually working against them that they haven't put enough effort into it?
Branding is a super important thing in the independent world. And so this is something that we work with our agency owners on, because in the independent world, you don't have one overarching company brand that you're falling back on. So instead of being like X company agency, it's your agency name. And so how would you differentiate yourself from other independent agents in the industry? When your client purchases insurance from you, they may have purchased it from a variety of companies. Their deck page might say like Safeco, Nationwide, Travelers, State Auto on there. And so it's important that they know that your client knows who your agency is and what role you'll play in helping them in the future. Because in their mind, it would be totally possible for your team member to sign someone up with a policy, like let's just say a Safeco policy, I'm just pulling a name out of thin air, and your client thinks, oh, I'm a Safeco client, but they don't know that they are a blank insurance agency client. Insert your agency name there. And so being able to say, hey, here's how our agency helps you. Here's reasons that we would guide you in the future. If you ever move or you add that deck onto the back of your house, make sure you give us a call. They need to understand what role you play in the process. So branding is important so that you know what message your team is sending, what you're focusing on, how you're helping clients, and so that your team can pass that message along. So it's more than just colors, it's more than just your logo. Think about what are we here to do and how are we helping clients, how are we solving problems, and that becomes your brand.
Well, amongst Quantum even, you guys you have a family-oriented brand that any of the agencies who join you take on some branding, correct?
They can use their own agency branding because they're 1099 agents, but the overarching Quantum brand is very client focused, very future forward. Our mission is to democratize insurance so you can protect what matters most. And that means that if there's barriers or red tape that make it hard for someone to make a great insurance decision, we want to solve those problems. And so that's something we're all kind of linking arms to do together.
Yeah, I think that explains too why you view brand as a vehicle for success, and some people shy away from it. You guys know what yours is. It's, to, like you said, to reduce any of those barriers, to help people be more informed. And even as you describe a brand and, the positives that a brand can have for an independent agent, your guys' brand is so closely aligned with that already that it is around them making good choices. So when we think about, yeah, of course, it's interesting to hear you guys talk about it across, like you as an individual, but then the whole organization, to see you guys on social and to see how closely your whole brand is tied to that idea of being independent, but still a guided and a very consultative relationship, bringing down those barriers. Do you feel like that's something that's a non-negotiable in any independent brand? Like, is the goal to educate everybody in the independent channel that they should be doing that, and then the idealistic state would be to do what you guys have done and say, we're going to be modern, we're going to be tech centric, we're going to be very forward thinking? Like, you guys are purposefully that way. You guys aren't picking up dusty old tech. You guys, I don't think I've ever met you guys having employed anyone that would be called like a curmudgeon. Everyone is friendly and accessible and forward thinking. And that's,
Thank you.
I imagine that's entirely intentional on your part. Do you think that the educational component of having a brand in the independent channel is necessary? That is the cornerstone. Or do you think there's other things that people could say, like, no, that's not my thing, that's not my cornerstone, and they could leave that out of being independent? Like, where's that line drawn?
So there's two parts to that answer. The first thing is, one of the really cool things about the independent world is that you have the world is your oyster. You can have whatever kind of agency you want to have focus on, whatever kind of, products make sense for your niche and your personality. I just talked to a Quantum agent yesterday who said, we're not selling personal lines anymore. I just hired 3 commercial lines producers. We're doing commercial now. And that's cool. And I know agents who get all of their marketing from Yelp. And I know other agents that are working with mortgage brokers. So your agency will have its own brand. But the part that of the message that I think applies to all of us,
Mm-hmm.
I think insurance has a brand issue. I think the insurance industry as a whole, if we don't have high school students and college students saying that they want to grow up and be insurance agents, then we have a major brand issue that we need to work on. And so I think that there's a lot we can do so that in the future, a 6-year-old somewhere will put on his superhero cape and say, I'm going to be an insurance agent one day. And we are out there, you know, saving the world if we're doing a good job and making a huge difference for people on the worst day of their lives. And that's something to be really excited about. So when we talk about being modern or cutting edge or tech friendly, it's with the goal in mind of how do we make that message relevant and current, because what we're doing is so important.
Right. I think that's a great call out. You know, for you guys, it's not just being relevant and current. It's also about having your perpetuation plan, like a future to an agency, a future that serves your clients well, because you're bringing in talent and people who want to be here. You know, we've all talked to plenty of agents who are incredibly successful and very necessary and very important to our market, but they, you know, stumble on, well, why'd you get into insurance? You know, even myself, even on the InsurTech side, working with thousands of you guys, you know, it's like, how do you get into insurance? It's like, well, my friend bribed me to apply to a job with a Chipotle gift card. And so, like, all things considered, you know, I think that's a really wonderful way to look at it. You know, is your brand something that would encourage other people to, and young people especially, to aspire to be like you? You know, does it create a future for your agency in a positive way?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's one of the reasons we focus so much on education at Quantum. We're developing the future leaders of Quantum and what that's going to mean for how clients purchase insurance in the future.
Well, I absolutely love that. That's probably a good place to stop, because before any of you guys started watching this and before Caitlin and I hit record, we were talking about internships and fostering the people that maybe weren't 6-year-old little nugget kids wanting to be insurance agents and changing their mind now at the last minute. And I think that's probably a good follow-up edition for us to turn this one off and follow up and talk about internship and career development sometime down the road. So Caitlin,
absolutely.
whole Quantum team, thank you guys again. You guys are absolutely awesome. Caitlin, you have your own podcast too, which I would encourage everybody to listen to. I'm a nut. I like wake up in the morning and like turn on your podcast and a couple other, like in the shower. Like I'm like trying to get ready in the morning, like mascara on and stuff. And I'm like, you know, it's time to listen to my friends.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for the positive feedback. The podcast is called Age of Independence, and it's all about this huge wave of opportunity that's available on the independent side and how agents can grow and scale in the modern market without losing the heart and soul of your agency and the reason you got into insurance in the first place. So I'm so glad that you love it. And thanks for highlighting us as an agency of the month. We are big fans of Agency Zoom and what you guys are doing to make it easier for agents to do a great job. So thanks a bunch for everything.
Of course, it's a lot of mutual love, and we super appreciate you guys. So thank you so much. And thanks everybody for listening and visiting, you know, the video today, and check out next month's Agency of the Month too.
Have a great day.
Thanks.